What's up, gang? All right, just ducking in here real quick to give a little sort of prelude of sorts. It was always my intention on this channel to show the hard times and the kind of warts that come along with this whole journey, and Friday night was very much that. It was the nightmare from frickin' hell. So I wanted to show that as, you know, potentially depressing and maybe not even good content. I'm honestly not sure, but what it is an insight into when things don't go well, but the real insight is to just how much work my guys put in, like, you know, that night to try and get us out onto the track. They worked their fucking tails off from start to finish to try and get it. Like, honestly, with it, we stopped basically like as our class went out to take the feature. It was heads down until that point. So Cameron Lennox, Cameron Scroop, Ben, Keith, Cameron Collier, Ron came over and helped us out. Lukey popped over a couple of times. Like, we had that many people come in and try and offer help and tips. I couldn't name like everybody, because like it would escape me to try and name everybody, but it was really amazing to have that many people in my pit bay. You know, nobody owes me anything and no one asks for anything in return. It's pretty amazing. I feel very just happy and humbled and honored that many people want to help me out. So I'm going to pop in every now and then during this video just to kind of talk you through maybe where we were in the night or what was going on. But this is just kind of a little bit of a warm up to what you're about to see. You're about to see a very optimistic me have a chat before we actually tried to go out for engine starts. So I'll see you in a little bit. What's up, gang? Happy race day. All right, we got Cameron over there adjusting the car and loading it up in a second. My brother is over there, Denim, Keith's over there, and yeah, we're just in the load up process at the moment, but yeah, we're not too far off from heading to the track, so I'll talk to you then. Alright, gang, we're at the track now. Car's unloaded and we're been through the scrutineering bay. So we're just gonna kill some time now until time to go out here for engine starts. We don't get hot laps today, unfortunately. It's the night one of the late model state titles, so they get the qualifying, the hot laps, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be getting straight into the heat. The track's looking, about as it's what a track looks like at the start of the night. Very pools of water down the bottom and a bit sludgy, but after it's been worked in a little bit. We're actually the second last heat of the first round of heats to go out, so by that point I imagine at least the bottom would be worked in pretty good. So we'll have to evaluate when we come back out, but we'll be keeping an eye on the track too. Yeah, I'm excited. It's been 6 weeks since we drove the car last, so couldn't be more excited to be here, and with all the changes that we've made to the car, I'm super curious as to how it's gonna go, and fingers crossed our engine demons have been exercised. So yeah, I'll check back in after engine starts.
late model title is up for discussion, and what that big title is going to be. Only a couple of weeks ago, the late models had their national title.
Alright gang, so this might not look like much to the exterior, but this is probably about the most kind of scared, for sure, I've been since being in the sprint car. You can tell pretty much straight away that my idle speed is significantly higher than what it should be. We adjusted the throttle linkage, and apparently too much, because the back end of the car was actually coming out like here, and it gets even quicker down this back straight. I freaked out. I'm trying to get it out of gear. You can see the wheels are turning, but the car is not, because the track's so greasy. And I spin out during fucking track packing. It was embarrassing, honestly, and but it was also scary. There was probably, you can't really see them, but there was probably about 30 cars on the track at that point, because the late models were out there too, as were all of our sprint cars for engine starts. And yeah, I was absolutely mortified I was going to run into somebody, and it was, I in retrospect, I should have just turned the car off, but I tried to get out of gear, but it was idling up too quick and I couldn't. I was trying to steer it so I wouldn't, like, run back onto the track, or run back onto the bike track, or to go up a track and to hit somebody else. And I just panicked and ended up spinning the car out. The engine died. You could already see there was some smoke coming out of it. And at the moment I'm having a chat to the guys in the middle. They're like, "Do you want to try it again?" I'm like, "No, because if I start again, the car's going to take off." And so we just pushed it back to the pits.
The cloud in the sky, nowhere near as hot as it has been.
So I'm a little rattled at this point, but Cameron's adjusting the throttle linkage back to sort of where it was. So basically, he came over to my place a couple of weekends ago and noticed that the butterfly valves in the intake were not opening the whole way up, even when I had my foot the whole way down. So his idea was to adjust it and let it come the whole way open. Unfortunately, that set a ridiculously quick idle speed, and now he's adjusted it. We're going back out for another engine start, which did not go well. As you can see, we just got the big bang, and that was pretty much all she wrote for that attempt. So the guys went back to work, and basically they took the spark plugs out. Some of them had cracked, actually, and they were brand new, so that might have been on me. I might have over-adjusted them when I put them in and replaced them this week. Yeah, changing spark plugs again, and just trying to tweak some things to see if we can't make it out for the second heat.
They just stopped.
Yeah, go. Definitely oil in that. Really good fun. Yeah, but it was mule in his mule. Yeah, so our float's not going to do it. And that mule stuff. Oh, where's you going? Over in Gangster. Oh, shit. Yeah. Oh, it wasn't allowed, mate.
Yeah. So if you go higher, it's going to be open.
And then what you do, it's just back your throttle. Some of you
last couple of laps.
Looking forward to that.
Pardon, you want to push her in?
I'm sorry?
Try it again, are you pushing her in? Push her in.
Alright, so as you can see, as soon as we got back to the pit bay after the heat, guys went straight back in. Once again, checking spark plugs, looking for any kind of indication what might be causing it. The next sort of thing was to try and clean the fuel system, essentially, which you'll see in a little bit. Had put the car in gear, and had the guys were physically pushing the car while it was in gear, trying to get some stuff through. And but this is just, here we go. So yeah, it's just the guys just hauled ass all night. It's like I said, this is only really going to be a snippet of how much they actually did.
Quite a bit of fuel in that too, so fingers crossed. Because if it's fuel, it's going to pop. Alright, so that's pretty much where the footage ends for the night. That's, again, just the smallest snippet of what actually went on that whole night. So Cameron Lennox, Cameron Scroop, Keith, Ben, Cameron Collier, my brother, Ron, Luke came over. There was that many people. It was ridiculous. Yeah, so okay, so we actually found the problem. After spark plug changes, sensor changes, a couple other small things, we found a hole in a piston, which I think will be on the screen now. That we found at the end of the night when our club president Ron came over with a little bore scope, got his camera in there, and we found that there was no compression in cylinder 1 or 2. So that's where they went looking first, and sure enough, that's where the problem lies. So what caused it, we're not entirely sure. Some people have suggested that they were running lean, or to say that there wasn't enough fuel getting to them. So we'll be looking at the fuel system this week. Today's Tuesday, the 21st of March. Tomorrow night, both my friends Ben and Simon are coming over, both mechanics who were going to be taking the top off of the block, getting into the cylinders, and not only removing the pistons that have holes in them, but looking for internal damage, and also looking for the shrapnel that would have fallen down into the engine when the piston got its hole, because we definitely don't want any metal flying around where the crank is or anything like that. So best case scenario, we need to replace a couple of pistons. Worst case, it's done damage to the bores or maybe some of the internals of the blocks. So we're not really sure. I'm going to ask everybody to pray to their respective gods, goddesses, and holy animals that that's not the case. Now, the next issue, it's not really an issue, but the next thing, pardon me, is that as luck would have it, a show that got rained out, the very first Fast Friday that got rained out in November last year, just got rescheduled for next Friday. Couldn't have been worse timing for us, basically. So tomorrow might be the determining night on whether or not we actually end up being able to run that show or not. I've told the club that I want to nominate for it because I don't know what's got in me, but I'm feeling pretty optimistic about it. That may well come crashing down tomorrow. We'll soon find out. But we actually got donated not one but two sets of pistons with rods and rings ready to put in if we need. Well, we're definitely going to need two. We might just replace all of them if they're in better condition than the ones we have. So we kind of have the parts that we need to repair it if it's best case scenario. We just need to get in there and find out. So tomorrow is going to be a pretty big day, I think. So preemptive thank you to Simon and Ben for coming over and sorting it out with me. But yeah, gang, it wasn't all doom and gloom. We had someone approach us and express interest in wanting to cover the cost of the fix to get us back on the track as a form of sponsorship. Whether or not we end up needing that, we'll probably find out tomorrow. But it was just cool that someone wanted to kind of help us, and I actually have something kind of big in the works in regards to sponsorship as well, which might not kick in till next season. I'm not entirely sure, but if what we've discussed ends up being the case, it's going to change the entire operation. Really, it could really do huge things for not only the racing operation, but for me personally. I won't get too much into that until it happens, because I don't want to speak about it and then have it not happen, but it's kind of a big deal for us. So if and when something comes from that, I'll definitely let you know, because you'll hear about it for sure. But yeah, look, gang, it was just a really bad night. We went in so optimistic. Cameron had new shocks on the car on kind of like a test basis sort of a deal. Toyed with the ride heights a little bit. He's just one of those people that just is constantly tinkering, trying to get what they call the one percenters. And he's, we were ready to go out, and this was going to be our breakthrough night. We're going to finish all the races. We were going to get a little bit more speed. I hadn't decided on it yet, but I toyed with the idea of actually going into the grid for the first time as opposed to starting at the back. And then we didn't get to turn a lap. It was really disheartening. But after failing to take the first heat, I had a bit of a dummy spit and kind of needed a minute to myself, and went and sat in my car for a minute. And then my brother actually, he came by and he said, "Hey man, I know you kind of need a minute, but just when you come back out, have a look at just how many people there are here, helping you out." And he was right. I did need a minute to myself for sure, but yeah, when I did kind of realize how many people there were in our pit bay, just watching, observing, offering tips, trying to help, and then there was obviously my guys getting in on the car. It was kind of hard to stay, a little cranky. Well, I mean, I was for sure cranky, but when I saw that, I was like, damn, I'm super lucky, So, yeah. So I think that's going to be about it for this one. I know it's very doom and gloom at the moment, but I don't know what's caused it, but I'm feeling pretty optimistic. But tomorrow's going to be the day that we find out if we're going to be running next week. So fingers crossed. I had some stickers made. I wish I had one here to show you, but I don't. You can see them on the TikTok, the Instagram, the Facebook, and everything. By all means, come and grab one at the show or at a show. I carry them with me everywhere. And if you're watching from overseas or from the east coast of Australia, I think what I'll do is I'll put up like my email address for my PayPal and just ask if you want one just to pay for postage. So keep an eye out for that. I'll post about that in the coming days on the socials and everything. Yeah. So yeah, look, gang, not the show that we wanted. Obviously, it was completely the reverse of it actually. But trying to stay optimistic. Would have no intention of giving up. It's just frustrating because this isn't what I thought we were going to have to deal with for 4 drives into owning the car. You know what I mean? So, but bad luck happens. But I swear, if someone says to me that's motorsport or that's racing one more time, it's nails on a chalkboard to us at this point. And it's, I know no one says it maliciously, but it's just not helpful. I'm sorry, it's just not helpful. But I'll never get angry at anybody for saying it because that's just how it is. So, all right, gang. Well, I'm gonna sign off. Thank you for checking it out. Please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have subscribed, thank you very much for coming along. If this is your first video you're checking out, I appreciate it. I promise you, there's more and there's more coming, more better stuff. So, all right, thanks for checking it out. Appreciate it. Till next time. Bye for now.